Hi everybody, it's Kara here at Sedgwick County Zoo, and today I'm with my friend Steph at the Cessna Penguin Cove, and we're going to have a little penguin adventure. So I'm going to turn it over to Steph, and she's going to give you some information about our penguins.
Hello everyone. My name is Steph, and I do work with the Humboldt penguins over here. I also work in the South America exhibit where the parrots and all those kind of birds are too. But today we have, I'm going to go ahead and feed them some fish today and talk a little bit about them. So like I said, these guys, they're Humboldt penguins. They are native to the coasts off of Chile and Peru in South America. So these penguins, of the 17 or 18 species of penguins, these guys like a warmer climate. There's actually more penguins that are from warmer climates. Such as penguins from the Galapagos Islands, penguins from South Africa, and then also the smallest species is from Australia and New Zealand area. So what these guys, their native temperature is between 45 and 85 degrees, so they do like it warmer.
So there's a cacophony of noise going on right now. Are they getting excited?
Yeah, they're in their breeding season right now, so you can see some of them hanging out over here. In that little crevice right there is the nest box on the other side of this wall. And so we just use kennels like you'd use for your dog or cat as their nest box. And usually we'll spread out grasses and the males will gather it up and take it to the nest for the females.
We do have a friend who wants to know why they are black and white.
Well, that is because when you're looking at the dark ocean floor, their black backs kind of blend into that dark background, and then looking up towards the sky, you can see the lighter sky, so that's why they have the white on their belly. And we do feed usually 4 different kinds of fish. There's a little bit of a shortage of fish right now for trout, so we have just the 3. And so we have smelt, which is usually the smallest, and the fattier fish that we feed. This is herring. This is the biggest and most nutritious. And then we have some capelin here as well. This is usually their least favorite, so they do get a well-balanced diet. We do give them a medicated herring every morning. We actually put a multivitamin into the gill of the fish and then hand feed each one of them. And then they get the...
Do you do that feeding before? Have you already done that for
Yes,
today?
I have.
So they're not getting medicine now?
That's correct. Yeah, they get that in the morning, and usually they get a snack in the afternoon, and then when they come inside, so they are on exhibit, and then we have a holding in the back, so we try and bring them into holding every night. They can get diseases by mosquitoes, and so we just try and bring them inside every night so they're not around those mosquitoes. Obviously there's not as much of an issue in the wintertime, but it just keeps them on a routine in case we have to do maintenance work to the pool or the glass or so forth.
A routine is important. We're all learning that with our kids at home right now.
Yes.
How many penguins do we have?
We have 34 penguins. We had 2 chicks hatch from last year, and they are these 2 right in front of me. This guy, pink orange and pink green. And you can see they look a little bit different. They don't have the black bands on their chests like the adults do right here, as well as a mask on the face. And so all of our penguins do have a unique band color combination on their wings or their flippers. And that's just so we can tell them all apart since they do look a lot alike. So we read left wing to right wing. So like I said, this guy is pink, orange, and yellow, black, and so forth. And that's what we use for their names. Some of them do have house names, but I actually don't even know them all. So we just really just use the band colors to communicate with each other.
And how often do you have to change those bands? I see that some of them look like they could be a little faded. Do you have to change them often?
Every so often, yeah. There's certain colors that actually fade a little bit more, like the oranges and the red and pinks.
What's the lifespan of a Humboldt penguin?
Well, in a zoo type situation, they can live 20 to 30 years. They don't live as long in the wild since they have predators and they don't have an awesome vet staff to take care of them when they're sick. Our oldest male is 22 and our oldest female is 21. So
one of our friends asks if they're always so quiet. The thing is, Steph and I have microphones, so we're hogging all the noise. You can't hear all the racket they're making over there behind us or in front of us. So they are not terribly quiet. And they sort of sound like a donkey braying.
Yes. And most of them do know how to catch too. Well, and sometimes they're really picky with what they like to eat as well, as you can see. Okay, hi buddy. And they do have like teeth-like structures in their throat and on their tongues, and that allows their fish to go down since they do swallow it whole.
Oh, we have a good question that you have a really exciting answer to. Do we have any penguin chicks right now?
We do. We currently have one penguin chick, and it is currently in the nest box with the parents. The parents are raising it for right now. It is a month and a half old. It was hatched February 12th. So we're actually getting ready to pull that penguin chick probably here in the next few days. So we have a holding in the back that we'll take it, and then we'll teach it how to hand feed from us, and then introduce it to a pool when it gets bigger and so forth. And then it joins the rest of the colony usually not long after that, usually about a couple of months, and it joins the rest of the colony.
So they're pretty good climbers, we discovered earlier today.
Yes, they are.
They were climbing up the rocks and over the barrier to come and see what was taking us so long.
Yes, great climbers. They're not the most graceful, but they...
One of our friends has asked, how in the world can we tell if they're each getting fed? Which I can understand because they all look so similar to me, but to you...
Yeah, and that's... like I said, we use their band colors to distinguish them apart, and usually the males are a little bit bigger than the females, but it's not always easy to tell, and so those bands really help us out. So the fact that we're pulling the chick and we teach them how to hand feed from us, that way they come over to us and we can get a visual on them and make sure they're doing okay and kind of know how much they're eating. We do try and weigh our penguins once a month to just to keep track of their weight and make sure they're not gaining or losing accordingly. They do gain a lot of weight before they go into their molting season in the summer, so they can store up that food storage, so they have enough. They don't usually go into the water during that time. They don't have those waterproof feathers, and so
so why do they molt? What's the purpose of, or can you tell us what molting is and why they do that?
Well, molting is just they do it once a year, and it's called a catastrophic molt, meaning they actually lose all their feathers from head to toe in just a period of a couple weeks. Whereas other birds are constantly losing feathers throughout the year and getting them back. So it's really unique to penguins, and they do that. I mean, if you have your feathers for over a year or a year, they look a little bit dingy. They're not as well adapted for swimming and all that kind of stuff. So
how friendly are these? These penguins are not, they are obviously not pets, but are there some that are more friendly or adapted to you than others?
Yes and no. Most of them are not so friendly. They do bite, and they bite hard. But we do have one penguin in particular that sometimes is pretty friendly, and he's orange-blue. So sometimes he'll come over and say hi to us, although he is one of our #1 recommended breeding pairs. So we kind of try and let him be penguin and try and keep hands off during that breeding season. So he's stick to his mate and not so much for us.
You know.
So.
Have all of our penguins been born at a zoo?
Yes, we started when we opened up the penguin exhibit in 2007. We started with 15 birds, and like I said, now we're up to 34 birds, and so we've had chicks every year since 2010. And we have shipped a couple of penguins to other zoos or other institutions for breeding and that kind of purposes. So yeah, we just shipped one just a few months ago, actually, and then like I said, we've shipped a few to other places.
And we are part of the breeding program, so there are recommendations for who you would like to see pair up.
Yes, that's correct.
Is there, how do you make that magic happen?
Well, you see, we get this little matrix, and all of the penguins are assigned a different number based on the pairing, and so that number represents if we can breed them or if we should not breed them based on the genetics. So, like I said, all of the penguin pairs have a number, so we breed 4s and below, and then all the 5, 6, and dashes we do not breed.
Okay. And what kind of schedule are these guys on? Are they nocturnal? Are they up during the night? Are they daytime animals?
Yeah, a little bit of both. They do pretty much rest at night, I believe, and then they are more active during the day.
And do they spend long periods of time out in the ocean, or do they come back to shore every day for resting?
They do spend a lot of time in the water catching food, but they are on land as well. I would say probably they do spend, I would say, more time in the water finding food and that sort of thing. But as far as molting and breeding season, then they are pretty much on land.
And I think the pool is a really awesome part of this exhibit, and I often get jealous of the penguins on those hot summer days when the kids and I are out touring the zoo. How many gallons of water does the pool hold? Do you know?
I want to say it holds about 20,000 gallons. I want to say it is about 10 feet deep. It is a freshwater pool. The penguins don't need the salt water to survive. They actually have a special gland that filters the salt water in the wild. But our pool here, these two areas for the drains, they actually go to our filtration system. So we have this big system and filters all the water through it, and that's how we can keep our pool as clean as you see it now.
And is this well water or city water?
It is well water.
Well water. Who does the rearing of the chick? Is it mom, dad, or both?
It's actually both. Both parents take care of incubating the egg as well as taking care of the chick. So they will trade off turns.
About how much do they eat a day?
They eat quite a bit. Usually on a day-to-day basis, they eat about 1 pound to 2 pounds. And then, like I said, going into molt, they eat a bunch more, usually about twice as much of that so they can store up their food. And so, hi, buddy. I was telling you, this is our nice penguin. He does have a house name. His name is Chili. Chili.
He said, no, that's not what I wanted.
I know. He says, I want some love and attention.
Don't we all during these times?
Exactly.
Well, speaking of love and attention, we see that you have a bowl full of fish that you need to finish giving out. So we're going to wrap up, but we really appreciate you spending your time with us today and all our friends on Facebook to let us know that even though we're closed, we're still caring.
Yes, thank you so much.